Beauchamp. Thank you for joining me on this video. And yes, you should clean up your workspace. And here's why. There's three main things that I think are really important when it comes to thinking about your workspace. The first thing is your physical space. The second thing is your electronic space. And the third thing is your mental space. And those three things working in conjunction can really make a huge impact in how you are able to achieve the things that you set out to do on a daily basis. So if you are left wondering at the end of the day, man, why wasn't I able to get all the things done that I wanted to get done? Maybe you need to think about decluttering your workspace and organizing it a little bit more so that it serves you better. Also, if you've tried optimizing your workflow and it didn't work, maybe it's because you need to declutter your workspace first, because it's very important to have an organized and clean space before you try to optimize it. You can't optimize disorganization and chaos, right? You need to be able to have something that makes sense, something that's organized, something that allows you to be able to see the things that you need and be able to get the things that you need very easily. Ideally, in your workspace, you should be no more than one step away from something that you need, right? So for example, I'm standing at my workstation right now. My tea is right here. My phone is right at my side. My laptop's right in front of me. I've got a snack in really close proximity, and I even have a couple photos of myself and my wife and my dogs really close because that's important to me. And I have a notepad. Everything has its place, right? And everything is easily accessible. I also have a stack of Post-it notes in case I need to make a quick note to myself, because I'll have Post-it notes. But the point is, everything has a place, and that place needs to stay organized, and there needs to be some kind of system that you use in order to have a solid routine for yourself and be able to optimize it. Okay, so first let's talk about your physical space. So when you have visible clutter around you, it actually has a pretty negative effect on our bodies. When we are constantly seeing piles of stuff all over the place that are disorganized or in disarray, that can truly have negative effects on your body. And you start experiencing that in a stressful way. And, a lot of times we just start to get desensitized to our surroundings, but that doesn't mean that the stress is any less, right? The stress is still present. You've just become desensitized to it. And so if you go into your workspace and it's just, piles of papers everywhere, or, you can't find things, that can just start building the stress inside of you when you're frantically looking for something that you really need, you can't find it. That's not good. I mean, think about the files that you keep. Being able to find the files that you need when you need them is very important. And if they're right where you want them to be, it doesn't take you any time at all to find them, right? And so it's very important from a stress perspective to have your physical space in order. From another standpoint, having a organized workspace is also very impressionable to your team, and it can also be very impressionable to your clients, right? So if you have a very public-facing business where the public can come in, off the street, or if your clients are meeting you in a particular space, having a clutter-free workspace actually speaks volumes to your client, right? Because they then believe that you value them and that you are honoring them in your space. You don't want to invite them into your clutter and into your just disarray. That's not going to inspire confidence in your business, nor is it going to inspire confidence in you as the business owner. And so it's very important from that perspective also to really think about, what kind of image are you portraying to your clients? The other thing from a physical space standpoint is that it can actually pose a safety risk to have a disorganized workspace. And having, trip hazards everywhere, having, things piled up around heaters, or, blocking fire extinguishers, or, that sort of thing, that's not good. You're actually creating an unsafe work environment by doing that. And nobody wants to do that. I don't believe that anybody wants to do that on purpose. So be intentional about your workspace, make sure that it's free of clutter, because it's just going to serve you and your team and your clients so much better. Okay, if this is resonating with you, I'd highly encourage you to subscribe to our channel. I'll be sharing new videos every week on, the 5 pillars that I believe are critical to your success of being able to engineer a routine that can get you the results that you want and give you the time freedom that you deserve. Those 5 pillars are using smaller time blocks, balancing your time, removing unwanted activities, enforcing a routine, and practicing discipline. Those 5 things working in balance with each other can really help you achieve that engineered routine that you really want. So let's transition the conversation into our electronic space. So, we all have computers or phones or, iPads or tablets or, whatever in the world you use to access this particular video. You have to have some kind of electronic, means to do that. We all have the ability to keep our electronic space free of clutter. There's a couple of different things that you could consider. First one, the obvious one, is our email. Oh my God, our email can just turn into a runaway freight train in our inboxes, right? So there's some real simple things that you can do to help maintain some control over your inbox. You can create some rules. Most email services have the ability for you to be able to create rules inside your email so that you can automatically filter your email one way or the other. The other thing that I would encourage you to do when it comes to email is set up a specific time during the day that you're going to open, read, and respond to your email. It doesn't really do you any good to check your email throughout the day, read something, but then not do anything with it. You're just actually wasting your energy and your time. And what that's doing is actually creating a distraction for you. And it's actually disrupting your workflow. So it can be actually really detrimental to you being able to achieve the things that you want to achieve by constantly checking your email. So I would highly recommend that you carve out specific moments in your day to do that. That way you can give your full attention to it, and then you can move on. So the other thing when it comes to your electronic space is your web browser. A lot of times we can have a whole bunch of different tabs open, and why do you have that many open? It actually becomes really challenging to be able to figure out what you're looking at. Now, if you have like say 9 or 10 that you use regularly, that's okay to keep those open. But if there's like 20 or 30 or I don't know how many you can actually have, that's probably not serving you very well. And so what I recommend doing is bookmarking those sites that you feel are important, because you wouldn't be on them if they weren't important to you in some way. So bookmark it. That way you can go back and find it easily and just close it. You'll be surprised what that can do to your mental well-being if you don't have too many windows open at once. So I highly recommend considering that. And that, it actually made a huge difference for me in my workflow when I started really making a conscious decision to control my electronic space. And, the third thing when it comes to your electronic space is the desktop or your file system that you have on your computer. Really think about how you're storing things. Make it easy to find them. And, don't just have a million things on your desktop, because that's actually going to have a negative kind of feeling for yourself when you open your computer. So try to keep it as clutter free as you can. In the long run, it's going to make a huge difference in your workflow. All right, so the third space, we talked about physical space, electronic space, and then the mental space. And our mental space is actually, affected by the other 2 spaces. And so if you really start making a difference in the first 2 spaces, by default, your mental space is going to start to improve. But there are some things in our mental space that we really need to be conscious of in order to really declutter those things. And I highly recommend writing things down rather than trying to keep everything up in your head, especially when it comes to the critical activities that you need to get done in your routine. Have it jotted down somewhere, whether that's in an electronic space or on a piece of paper. Get it out of your head, because if you get it out of your head, you free up that mental capacity to be able to do more important things, more creative things. If these are the things that you just know you need to do, get it out of your head, get it on paper. You'll be surprised how much of a difference it makes. And it could be digital paper, but anyways, the point being, get it out of your head. That's the important thing, because it'll free up some of that mental space. You'll actually feel better. You'll probably start sleeping better. And you know, if your physical space is visually more organized, that's also going to have a positive effect on your mental space. Again, your electronic space, getting that decluttered can have also a really positive effect on your mental space. So, you know, if you really want to optimize your workflow, if you really want to be working at your optimum, you really need to think about how to keep your workspace decluttered and working for you and not against you. Thanks for joining me on this video. I really appreciate you, and I will see you on the next video.